Hi everyone, it's Dr. Romani. Welcome back to this YouTube channel on narcissism and narcissistic relationships. Today I'm going to tell you a story, a very interesting story. We're going to call this one The Lesson of the Hummingbirds. Listen up. So, if you didn't know this about me, I love hummingbirds. They are beautiful, they're fun to watch, they're curious creatures, and they happen to love the climate where I live. So they come to these feeders I have in the back of my house in huge numbers. And sometimes I have to refill those feeders 2 or 3 times a day, especially in the summer. It's hot, the hummingbirds are more active. I have 3 feeders. And it just makes me smile and it cheers me up to see them doing their thing from sunrise to sunset. I take my feeders very seriously. I make new nectar every weekend. I spend time scrubbing the feeders. I'm always checking them. It's a thing for me. Well, last week, one of my feeders, after all these years, one of my feeders got taken over by a narcissistic hummingbird. He just took over one of the feeders. I woke up and he was there. He actually came while I was out of town, and then I came home and there he was. He bullies everyone who comes by. He dive bombs them and he will not share. He took up residence on the branch of a tree not far from what he considers his feeder, and if anyone comes close, he flies right up and attacks them, or he stands right on top of the feeder. I call him Al. I hate Al. The other hummingbirds have all retreated to the other 2 feeders. And those and they have enough nectar because I always keep those 2 feeders. I keep them all full, but I always keep ensuring that they have enough. But now those other 2 feeders are crowded. But Al, he just sits there at his feeder. He never shares. He never lets anyone else come, and he always attacks all the time. He ruined this beautiful, harmonious hummingbird world I had. I was so sad when I saw this. I actually kind of ruminated a bit what to do. I did research. I read articles. Al is clearly unempathic, entitled, controlling, dominance seeking, validation seeking, angry, manipulative, and egocentric, and I think grandiose. We had a hummingbird utopia here, a seemingly equitable society where conflicts got worked out and feeders were shared. Now, maybe there is no such thing as hummingbird utopia. That was my sad and hopeful projection, but it seemed like everyone was getting along. But as I do, I thought about Al in the context of my work. That one awful owl, that one hummingbird disrupted everything. It just took one. The others kept going, and they still keep trying to feed at Al's feeder. They aren't getting that Al is not going to change. I keep telling them, but they will not listen. And Al just keeps chasing them off and keeps attacking them. Just like in human relationships, you can have a great workplace and boom, one narcissistic hire can throw it all off. You may actually have a cool family and then boom, a narcissistic in law can mess it up. You could have a great group of friends and boom, someone brings in a new friend who is narcissistic and messes it all up. I was actually watching a show about a cult last night about how a happy family was destroyed by one cult leader, one person, one hummingbird, one narcissist in a system throws it off. So let's go back to Al. I spent probably more time this weekend than I should have trying to troubleshoot. Now, obviously, I wasn't willing to do harm to Al. I did let my cat wander a bit around the place where the feeder is, but hummingbirds are too fast. She can't be bothered, and it's not the right thing to do. You cannot fight bullying with bullying. So I took that strategy out. Not going to harm Al. So what did I do? I decided to install a 4th feeder, close enough to the other feeder so the others can find it, far away enough from Al so he can't overtake it, because I knew he couldn't successfully defend 2 feeders. I actually measured the distance. The good, agreeable birds now have 3 feeders again, and Al has his dumpy feeder because I gave him the worst one that was broken. So Al created more work for me. He disrupted the other hummingbirds, but you might be thinking, well, just why don't you take away Al's feeder? I can't take away Al's feeder, or he will then likely go after another one and displace the other birds again. I can't let Al's feeder go empty or the same problem. He will go and take over a feeder that's more full. So I have to enable Al to support the other birds. I had to do the workaround, and it takes me more time because now I got more feeders to deal with. But as often happens, someone in the system has to take on more burden to protect the others, and the narcissist keeps getting his way. And Al, by the way, is a boy bird. Very pretty, gorgeous red and orange and gold feathers, vain and preening Al. And I'll bet he love bombs the girl birds because he definitely dive bombs them. So this happens all the time, doesn't it? The narcissistic patriarch being enabled so people can have the family dinners or the wedding. The narcissistic boss being enabled and workarounds practiced so people can protect each other in the workplace and get the job done. I know I'm an enabler now. There is no reasoning with Al. I tried. My hope is that he keeps migrating down to Mexico, where his species spends the winters. But until Al is sipping a margarita in Mexico, I'm stuck with him. And Al is a bleak reminder of how much we extend ourselves and do what we need to do to protect others. This is the position that many co parents find themselves in, knocking themselves out to protect children from their narcissistic parent. The enabling emboldens the narcissist, sure, but they aren't going to change, so at least the more vulnerable folks, or hummingbirds, are protected. Al is a reminder of this other kind of enabling. I am not doing this fourth feeder and keeping his feeder somewhat full because I agree with Al, or I want Al to feel better about himself, or even that I support him. I am doing this because I want the other birds to have enough nectar, especially as the weather gets colder, and to support the migrating birds, the birds flying south, and giving them enough juice for their journey. I enable Al for the others. And I think that officially makes me a hummingbird codependent, but Al was a wake up call for me on the nuance of enabling. I cannot wait until Al leaves. I don't like him. But these birds, they tend to return to the same feeders year after year. And I will roll my eyes when he comes back, and I'm going to have to hold on to that fourth feeder. Sometimes we enable the narcissists, not because we don't see their BS or because we don't see what they're doing. Sometimes we enable them because we're trying to protect other people. Like I said, I don't care what happens to Al, but I am not going to try to prove a point and take away Al's feeder just so more of my other sweet cooperative birds lose out again. And because of this, we as a world often keep enabling the narcissistic folks to protect others. And as such, I can promise you this narcissism problem is going to keep proliferating. I am already planning on getting a few more feeders just in case I need to enable any more narcissistic hummingbirds in the future. Stay tuned. I will be happy to bring you Al updates. My hope is when I can tell you Al has moved on. For now, I'm going to have to keep enabling him to protect the rest. Thanks again.